to another video and welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel, guys, I fancied doing another film review. And for this time around, I'm going to take a look at a first time watch actually, and that is High Plains Drifter. This came out in 1973, directed and starring Clint Eastwood, Werner Bloom, Billy Curtis, Mariana Hill. Ernest Tidyman does the screenplay, who I think worked with on the film The French Connection. Music by Dee Barton, who did the scores for I think Play Misty for Me, and I think it might have been Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. The location for this one was in Mono Lake in California. So the film is about a stranger that rolls into a town one day, the town of Largo, in California, America, and when the stranger rolls into town, there has been 3 gunmen that aim to kill this stranger that rolls into town. This stranger is played by none other than Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood then kills these 3 gunmen, front, left, right, and centre, out of the blue, and I think this all takes place when he's in like a hairdresser. Then he is hired as this town's sheriff to protect the townspeople from these 3 outlaws, gunmen, that is about to be released from prison. I think the gang is known as the Carlins there. I think it might be the Carlins that they're known for, like the Carlin brothers, I think it is. And yeah, they're about to be released in prison. This lady is under a great deal of threat when this stranger rolls in, and she kind of forms a bit of a rivalry, side rivalry to the story with people that with these gunmen that she's involved with, in order to form and plot a plan against the stranger as well as this. And also the sheriff, stranger played by Clint Eastwood, hires Billy Curtis's character as the new mayor to accompany him. So, what's my thoughts on High Plains Drifter? Now, this is the first ever Western that Clint Eastwood directed. This is his second directed film after Play Misty for Me that came out in 1971. And yeah, I've got to say, this was a very good Western, guys. Obviously, Clint Eastwood, when he stars in Westerns, you know you are in for a really, really good time. And this was kind of no exception here. Obviously, not on the level of the Dollars, the Man with No Name trilogy, but it's still a very good, solid Western. I've got to say, this had a very different feel, different tone about it compared to like other Westerns I've seen. I think the way the film starts, it has that really eerie sort of atmosphere to it. I think when you get like sort of like the heat waves that come into the picture, but the way the score actually is set up as well did remind me a little bit of the score taken from the opening scene of The Shining. And yeah, I really liked kind of the way the film opens up, where Clint Eastwood, the stranger, he rolls into town, he goes through this desert, then across these hills, and then he goes into town. And that kind of is done justice with the opening credits, but also a great way to kickstart a Western there as your opening scene there. But yeah, I thought the setup with the Western town with Largo, I thought was really interesting, really well kind of layered there. With you have like this sort of like merchandise convenience store. There was this saloon bar, this hotel, and yeah, just kind of I just found the layout of the town really well. There was some interesting characters to accompany that as well. So yeah, and Clint Eastwood as the stranger, a very solid protagonist, but obviously steals the show in every scene he's in. And yeah, the scene when, as mentioned before, when Clint is in the hairdresser, I think he's getting like a shave, I think, and then these three gunmen is basically like going after him. He takes and stands for no shit in the slightest, and he basically is about to give them a piece of his mind, and he basically just off the cuff and off the bat basically just like absolutely kind of both those three gunmen earlier on in the film that they basically shouldn't have messed with the stranger after all this time. But what I really found interesting about this film as well, there was an interesting backstory with the guy, I think it's Jim Duncan, and you see flashbacks of Jim Duncan that had a bit of nightmare fuel to it as well, and just with how you see Jim Duncan, he's kind of like, again, just tied up basically, and it makes a bit of an sort of like an impression of what's going on in this film. There is some quite dark dreamscapes that is layered here and there in this film as well. And again, I think that is it's kind of a little bit, has a different layer about it compared to kind of how I've seen in a previous Western, you know, like dreamscapes and that. It's not really something I've seen a great deal of in a Western. And yeah, this was like a different avenue to how I've a different approach to this. And yeah, I thought the main guy, Billy Curtis, did a good job as the mayor, a good like kind of, he was a good like supporting role to the story. I thought the main actress, Marion Hill, did an absolutely fantastic job in this film, as Werner Bloom did. They both put on really, really good performances, really good acting in there. And I just love the whole setup with this revenge plan in place, the whole kind of build up there to when these townspeople have to come together, form their own community in preparation for the return of these three gunmen that is about to be released from prison. And like Clint Eastwood as the stranger, he is very much plays a pretty dominant part to that, where he's getting them ready at all costs, at all areas, to form this sort of revenge plan and against these three gunmen that is known to kind of, you know, like stir the pot and stir up some shit big time. But yeah, I really enjoyed, again, the cinematography is as crisp and sharp and beautiful. I can imagine the 4K colours could really pop and shine through with this. You know, that really kind of just spice up kind of what you're seeing on screen. And I think they could just really capture it, that extra bit more really. But still, the film itself, yeah, just and treating it how it originally kind of, how you would see it in 1973, I still really just enjoyed what I was watching on screen. And yeah, I've also, again, I think it's the Carlins, I think it is, were an interesting kind of rival gang to the story as well. You know, quite sort of mean-spirited. They have that extra bite of the apple there. And yeah, and when they come in and out of the movie, it's kind of, you're kind of guessing and scratching your heads thinking, when is shit gonna go down here? And yeah, I kind of like how that was spicing up that tension there. The final showdown, again, The final act was very good and very solid to this one. I've got to say though, guys, I personally, in my opinion, I was more invested in the first hour. I think if I was to kind of pick and choose where I was enjoying the film the most, I probably would say the first hour of this film, I was kind of having the most enjoyment, but was the most invested with this film was the first hour. Not saying the last 40 minutes was like a slog or anything, but I think that was probably my least favourite part of the film, but the first hour where I was the most invested, but that is still most of the movie anyway that I really enjoyed, as this film clocks in at an hour and 40 minutes. The one gripe I did have with this film, I don't know how much of a hot take this could potentially be, but I personally have got to say I found the score to be somewhat grating after a while. Just my personal opinion, guys. I didn't really personally get on well with the score in this. I didn't think the score really fitted with this Western and kind of just what I was seeing on screen, whereas I look at Sergio Leone and the Westerns he's delivered front, left, right and centre, and those scores from Ennio Morricone just go hand in hand and work wonders for those Westerns, with the Man with No Name trilogy and Once Upon a Time in the West, speaking of which. But yeah, I think the score from D. Barton, I can't comment on D. Barton's other scores, but this score, I just wasn't, I just didn't think it was really the best in my opinion. But yeah, it felt a little bit prog rock at times, and I'm not huge on prog rock personally. Other than that, for the most part, guys, I've got to say I still really liked this film on the whole. Again, I really liked the interactions between the stranger and the townspeople as well. Classic sort of thing where a new guy rolls into town and the first place he goes to is a saloon bar, and this is no exception here. And yeah, kind of like it kind of sets up that atmosphere where he's just having a pint as well. One other highlight I've got of this film as well is where the stranger is also kind of forming this plan together to take on these three outlaws and basically like kind of do some training there. I really liked those aspects, and also some of the council meetings I found quite interesting to this one, and kind of the backstory with Jim Duncan. And I think there was this gold mine that came into the conversation at one point in this film as well. So yeah, interesting film, good solid Western, and as a first Western that Clint Eastwood directs behind the camera, I thought this was a very solid effort and quite interesting. I think he was very influenced to direct this Western after starring as the main lead in the Man with No Name trilogy, which is obviously, you know, one of the greatest trio of films of all time there. The ending kind of really left a bit of a question mark there to kind of where does this film kind of go from there, really, surrounding this mysterious leading figure here. I'm going to give High Plains Drifter a 7.5 out of 10. I think I would have gone with an 8 because I was very much more invested in that first hour, but the last 40 minutes still wrapped up nicely with a pretty solid showdown there. So yeah, High Plains Drifter, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10. So I think I had my VHS copy of this, but this is the DVD copy I did pick up in Bernardo's in Blythe recently, and lovely artwork. I love the artwork of this, to be fair. And yeah, also really good chemistry between the stranger, played by Clint Eastwood, and the main lady in there as well. So yeah, really good stuff. And we've got a bit of a leaflet, pamphlet leaflet in there as well. And yeah, good still with Clint Eastwood there, painting the word hell on there. So, and yeah, another good still of the big man there as well. So that's my DVD copy, and yeah, High Plains Drifter a 7.5 out of 10 there. So yeah, that was a really good first time watch. And yeah, guys, do let me know in the comments what's your thoughts on High Plains Drifter as a movie. I would love to hear your thoughts on this film. Do you have a favourite Clint Eastwood Western? Do you have a favourite Clint Eastwood film, wherever that's where he's starring in or directed? I would love to know all that good stuff in the comments down below there. And yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to doing more movie reviews for the channel. So yeah, guys, I'll be back for more content soon. So thanks for watching. Cheers for stopping by. And until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye-bye. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.